to be a very, very frightening thing. Fortunately, the kids were still in school when
Yeah.
this took place.
Keep them down. Again, we're just waiting to hear from the doctor giving us the okay at the hospital of these two detectives, one from Baltimore County and one from Baltimore City, serving a warrant here today. And all they want to do, like we say all the time, you know, it's they go to work and they just want to come home. They just want to protect us. And all they want to do is just make it home to their families. And luckily, two will make it home eventually after getting their wounds healed.
He said one was shot in the leg,
Yeah.
and that was the one who the governor had an opportunity to talk to, who was expected to make a full recovery. I'm not sure where the other officer was shot, but he was just coming out of surgery, and the governor did not yet have a chance to talk to him. But you know, the families are there at the airport. So, I mean, not the airport, at the hospital. So very, very frightening situation for everyone involved. But again, statements being released from everyone. The governor actually talking a little bit more about this task force as we continue to crack down on the crime that they've seen so far in Baltimore City.
And with it, you know, you have all these. I just got three more names. Is it? And we don't know. And we're just hoping that they'll come out and give us great news that these officers are going to be released sometime tonight, tomorrow.
Probably. And again, at the hospital, Mayor Jack Young, County Executive Johnny Olszewski, because it was a city-county situation, all there, just as we are, waiting for updates on the situation. And typically, you know, for the reporters that we have at the hospital, you know that there's tons of officers as well stopping by shock trauma, trying to make sure that their fellow man or woman in blue is going to make a full recovery as well.
Hey, Sedonia, oh man, Sedonia. Used to play football over there against Garden Village. Man, they had a great football team. They had a rec program. All right, now we understand the doctors. All right, well, let's just go. Let's just show the bank of cameras here at Shock Trauma, and we'll just watch the slow march and see who's out there, who's going to address us here today.
I understand that they are en route to the podium, so we will be going to them soon to hear exactly what kind of condition that the officers were in and the severity of their injuries. Dr. Scalea handling so many of these situations and saving so many lives as the chief over there at Shock Trauma.
How lucky were you to have him here?
In town. No, I know. He's talked about that on many occasions, the lives that they were able to save at Shock Trauma because of the resources that we have here.
So they rushed him by ambulance to Shock Trauma.
Shut down the roads like they always do.
Yeah.
And last week, I believe the officers from Anne Arundel County, they were at Shock Trauma as well.
The race up. Again, this happened early this morning. Serving a warrant, the task force, the governor frustrated, everybody's frustrated. You have two officers. What was your initial reaction when you heard it could be two U.S. Marshals?
It was
kind
of scary. I mean, it was, you know, anytime law enforcement involved, it's a scary situation, but we just had no idea. And at that point, we had no idea about the severity of the injuries, only that two U.S. Marshals at this point had been injured. So you're wondering, well, why were Marshals involved? And then you started hearing about the Baltimore City, Baltimore County connection because they were both showing up at the scene. And just a very, very scary situation. And in situations like this, when you have to be very, very careful, as you said, your phone blowing up from people wanting to know who it is, well, you better believe they wait and hold these news briefings only after the family and people close to the officers is aware, because you don't want to hear from a news report that your loved one was the one who was injured in the shooting.
Just think of the families and what they're going through right now. I mean, you know, they're just waiting for word.
And again, we will continue to cover this throughout the day and hopefully have something later on in the news tonight at 11 o'clock, because again, we have seen so many of these cases recently where officers have actually been the victims of violent crime. You know, we talk about the shootings and the violent crimes that we see on a city and daily basis, but now we're hearing that some of that crime is being deflected over to the officers who are responding to some of the crime.
And knowing a lot of them who have been shot and go back out there, it is
life-changing.
It is, yeah. Some cannot, some just cannot go back out there. And can you blame them?
No, and their families as well, waiting, you know, hoping you won't get the call. I believe, is it Friday that we come up on the 4th anniversary of Logsdon and Daly?
It just passed, didn't it?
I thought
it was just passed.
Well, I know they had their blood drive yesterday where they were collecting blood donations. Okay. All right, but they were collecting blood donations for the community to actually help out people in the community, as are the officers. But what you're looking at right now is a live picture of the, I guess you could say, the entourage or the group, probably led by Dr. Scalea, who will provide information as far as the conditions and updates of the officers involved, as well as the mayor and the county executive and others. And yes, there's Dr. Scalea right up front. See Mayor Jack Young, you see Commissioner Harrison.
Yeah, any chance we could take this full so we can make out who's coming? Yeah, let's see.
There we go, Brandon Scott.
Yeah.
I think that's from the, is that from the FOP?
Yeah, let's see. Dr. Scalia will address us now. He'll be first up. Let's see. You did see there's Marilyn Mosby off on your right.
Right there.
Police Commissioner.
Jack Young. Brandon Scott right up front as well. There's the Commissioner. Maybe we'll get the first update from Commissioner Michael Harrison about the situation that took place today.
1 second.
And that's Melissa Hyatt
Right.
from Baltimore County. All right, let's listen in.
Good afternoon. Sorry to be back doing this yet again. At about 12:30 this afternoon, 2 Baltimore County police officers presented following multiple gunshot wounds. They are both upstairs. One required an emergency operation. The other is under observation. Both are awake, though still in very serious condition. At least at this point, their vital signs are stable. I will take 30 more seconds for an editorial. At least one of their lives was likely saved by application of a tourniquet applied by their fellow officers. Tourniquets save lives. There is a course we are happy to teach you, and I will not rest until every citizen of Baltimore and Maryland has taken this course. It's called Stop the Bleed, because next time, maybe it's your family member and you too will be able to help save their life.
Thank you, Dr. Scalia. We are joined by the entire leadership team of Baltimore City and Baltimore County. Around 12 o'clock p.m., 2 officers from local police agencies were attempting to serve a felony arrest warrant in Northeast Baltimore. At that time, our worst fears became a reality when shots were fired and 2 officers were hit. As a result, our officers, one from Baltimore City, one from Baltimore County, were shot and had sustained gunshot wounds and were transported here to shock trauma, where they are receiving the best treatment anywhere in the country. This was a collaborative effort between federal, state, and local agencies to apprehend a violent offender. The task force was charged with identifying and apprehending violent offenders in our city and is supported by multiple agencies from local, state, and federal government. As we know, crime has no boundaries, and gun crimes affect us all. We ask that you keep our officers in your prayers as we go out each and every day to serve and protect. We ask that you keep their families in your prayers as they stand by their sides as they recover. This is a dangerous job, but the men and women of Baltimore City, Baltimore County, and all of our state and federal agencies, we wake up every day and we go do it for the people of the city we live in. We do it every day to make this a better place to live, work, and visit. I want to thank all of the agencies who are involved. I'll list them. They're Baltimore City, Baltimore County, the Maryland State Police, Maryland Transit Authority Police, the Drug Enforcement Agency, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearm Agency, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, U.S. Marshal's Office, Homeland Security Investigations, School Police, Department of Public Safety and Corrections, and U.S. Secret Services. This time I'll turn it over to Chief Hyatt.
Thank you. I'd like to reiterate Commissioner Harrison's remarks that today's incident is a reminder of just how dangerous law enforcement is for our police officers and our law enforcement officers across the country, but particularly our officers in Baltimore City and Baltimore County that were involved in this incident today, along with our peer law enforcement allies. The outpouring of support from citizens and from law enforcement agencies across the region has been overwhelming and tremendously appreciated. These brave officers were serving their jurisdictions, and our county officer was in Baltimore City, as Commissioner Harrison explained before. We would just ask that you please keep their families and these officers in your prayers tonight. And we had the opportunity to visit with both of the officers, and we're able to speak with both of them and see both of their families. So they could all use our support right now, so please just keep them in their prayers. At this time, I'll turn it over to Mayor Young.
Thank you, Chief Hyde. I'm joined with Council President Scott and Councilman Schleifer and Councilman Stokes. I know he was here. On behalf of the citizens of Baltimore, I would like to thank the brave officers who worked today's Joint Task Force. Their work is dangerous and can turn deadly instantly. Our prayers are with their families, friends, and fellow officers. Each and every day they go out and put their lives on the line for us. And for that, we owe them a sincere gratitude. At this time, I'll turn it over to County Executive Johnny Olszewski.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank Shock Trauma, Dr. Scalia, and the men and women of this institution who have put in incredible work to stabilize our officers. Today is another reminder of how serious and dangerous the work is that our men and women in uniform face each and every day. It's a reminder of why we must do all that we can to continue to support them, affirm them, and lift them up. And today, tonight, and the days ahead, we should do that through our prayers and well wishes for the officers, for their families, and for those around them. I want to thank all of our members of law enforcement, both the Baltimore County and Baltimore City Police Department, U.S. Marshals, all the other affiliated agencies that were mentioned today for their service and their bravery. And please know that they are in the very best of hands, and they will continue to be supported by our agencies in the city and the county. Thank you.
Today illustrates the inherent dangers experienced by brave men and women in law enforcement as they attempt to keep public safety in our communities each and every day. Their hard work and daily sacrifice does not go unappreciated. We wish both the officers a speedy recovery, and will continue to keep them as well as their families in our thoughts and in our prayers. My office is committed to working with the Baltimore Police Department, our state, federal, and regional partners to fully investigate this matter. Thank you.
All right. It's time we take a few questions.
I know it's early, but can you at least walk us through what led up to the shooting?
Well, what we know right now is that we were serving a felony arrest warrant on an individual who was wanted for a felony in Northeast Baltimore. This task force identified this individual and was at that residence. At some point, this suspect was outside. What we know now is that shots were fired. Our officers were hit. The suspect was hit and was fatally wounded from his gunshot wounds. And our officers were then transported here, where they are recovering from their injuries as we speak.
So the suspect was outside armed?
Yes, sir.
Were there children involved?
At this time right now, we believe that this suspect was the only person involved in this warrant service and was the only person we were looking for. That's part of our investigation, and so we're working to identify everything about this person that we can identify. Right now, what we know is that he was wanted for a felony crime. I'm sorry? It is not time for us to do that now. We have met with their families. We have met with the officers, and at the appropriate time, we will be able to do that.
How long has the officer, city officer, and county officer been on the force?
What we can say is they're both veteran police officers. All right. All right. Thank you all.
All right, Commissioner Harrison wrapping it up there, telling us barely the basic details that they were serving a felony arrest warrant, that they were veteran officers, the suspect was outside, and they believe that he was the only individual involved in the service of the warrant.
I'm a little confused. We had the governor say there was a related crime in Pennsylvania, and that's why they were searching for it, but the commissioner said it was a crime that happened in Northeast Baltimore. So we'll have to, again, they're getting it like we are, just trying to put it all together.
And it's so much. We actually heard from Melissa Hyatt from Baltimore County talking about the commissioner, police chief there, basically saying that this situation is just a reminder of how dangerous the job of law enforcement is today. She said that they had an opportunity to see both officers after their procedures, and that them and their families could all use our prayers tonight.
I think the story of the day is that officer who saved the other officer's life by putting a tourniquet on him, and as Scalia said, that officer saved the other officer's life here today.
Exactly.
You know, you always hear the conditions, right? But you never hear how close it was. This was very close.
And he said that that was a stop the bleed, I think is a tourniquet course that they offer for anyone to be able to save the life of an individual. We're going to continue to follow the story. We have crews out in the field, Mallory Safaste at Shock Trauma, Dave Detling at the scene of where the shooting took place. We will come back at 5 o'clock and bring you the very, very latest on the situation in Northeast Baltimore where 2 detectives were shot.